Hello and welcome to this weather video. We have a winter storm warning in effect for most of all of Long Island, New York City, northern Jersey, and then you can see what the kind of setup we're going to have here with the heavier snow going over our area, and then the lighter snow off to the northeast and southwest. Let's go to the briefing on this winter storm here. So, the Weather Service is predicting 4 to 8 inches, which is exactly what I'm predicting. All right, reasonable worst case scenario of 8 to 10 inches. I don't think we'll see 8 to 10 inches. But there will be peak snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches an hour, and there will be hazardous travel from snow-covered roads. And in the advisory area, 3 to 5 inches is expected, all right? There will be dry, powdery snow Friday evening, becoming wetter snow overnight into Saturday morning. But when it's heaviest, it will be of the powdery variety. So this is the event snowfall total accumulation. And this is high ends and low ends amounts possibility here that we're going to have. And we will have accumulating snow starting at around 7 p.m. on Friday. All right. So looking at the satellite now, you can see we had a lot of clouds around today for Christmas. And then this evening, we finally had some clear sky here and there. But you can see the higher clouds that will be streaming in from the low pressure system that will be bringing us this snow. Here it is, right here. This is the system that came off California, went over the ridge in the middle of the country, and is heading toward us. You can see here it is on the weather map here. And Arctic air is building into the region. So looking at our weather map, you can see there's that winter storm warning, and around it winter weather advisories, and looks like we've got ice storm warnings for parts of Pennsylvania into Ohio, but it's mainly going to be snow for us. I don't think we're going to see any mixing in our area. The temperatures have now dropped after a mild day. Got up close to 50 degrees. We're down to now 31 degrees. The winds have shifted to the north. So looking at how the day was at Islip, you'll see here today we had a west wind, and we got up to the upper 40s, and then the winds have shifted now to the northwest. Notice those dew points and temperatures crashing. That's the Arctic air that is building in, and you can see looking at some of these temperatures off to the north here, we've got temperatures in the teens in Massachusetts. So teens and even single digits as you head up to like areas like Plattsburgh and stuff. So this is the Arctic air that's coming in. We've got the north wind that's going to bring it in. So we go look at our high temperatures today. We got up to the upper 40s and even around 50 in Jersey. But the lows, obviously, the current temperatures are the lows, or maybe not. Looks like there was some radiational cooling overnight where it did drop down to the upper 20s, I guess. Not terrible, not a tremendous amount of radiational cooling, but there was some. But it will be much colder by the time midnight comes along. That'll probably be the low because we're going to be dropping pretty quick once this Arctic air moves into the picture. Just showing you some pictures from tonight, and we will show you that the skies are pretty starlit skies tonight. It's nice. I love clear nights, and lately I'm just into just walking around at night and going into various parks and taking these long exposures. And yes, I did go into Mass Peak Reserve to look at some pines, to look at because that's what I felt like doing, especially on Christmas Day. The sky was really junked up, so I didn't really go for any hikes today. So yeah, we'll look at that snowfall total map in a little bit before I look at the models. But you see the winds definitely have shifted. So let's go to our statistics for Islip today. And we had a high of 49 degrees, 7 degrees above normal. Low at 31 was 3 degrees above normal, puts us 5 degrees above normal for the day. Month-to-date precipitation, by the way, we're at 2.68. Normally, we should be at 3.87, so we're still about an inch or so below normal, though we'll be getting some more precipitation from this next snow event that we're going to have. Of course, I don't think they counted the liquid equivalent from the snow event we had the last time. Didn't seem like it anyway. They're supposed to count that. So anyway, let's go to the models now and show you the models here we got. So starting with the GFS, so you see that Arctic high pressure building in. Here comes that low. Again, the Clipper type system, but kind of supercharged with a little extra moisture from California. That's why we're seeing heavier precipitation than we would expect from a Clipper. The Clipper kind of dives to the south of us, so we stay in the snow for most of the day on Friday, and then Saturday it tapers off, and then as we get into Sunday, You see we have a high pressure, and then we have the next system that will be now bringing more of a this is almost looking like more of an LLJ event now for Monday, but we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk mainly about the storm and the weekend that we're going to have. So let's go to the European model. It'll be the same deal here. Here's the European model. So here comes the storm. Again, that snow is going to start, and notice the dark blues that'll be over us Friday night. It's going to be a real thump of snow, and then as that low passes, the temperatures actually rise over Jersey. So that's why I don't think they're going to see much in the way of snowfall if you're in Jersey. It rises, goes pretty much to rain, but we pretty much stay north of that line and stay in the snow, and that snow will be lighter on Saturday morning. So the big thump is going to come Friday night. That's when you get most of your accumulation. And then another high builds in behind that, gives us a break from the precipitation for most of the weekend. Now, it looks like Sunday is going to be dry, and then, again, that next system would bring in rain and possibly an LLJ event, which would wash away a lot of the snow on Monday before some really bitterly cold Arctic air comes in. And we'll talk about more about that on Sunday night. So a closer look here. Here's the European. So you can see there's where that heavy snow is. Look at that thump of snow. That's some real heavy snow that we're going to have. It's going to be a real thump of heavy snow, and you can see it goes over New York City, Long Island after 7 o'clock. But notice Jersey, it stays rain. And then the snow does get wetter, but the good news is as it gets lighter is when it gets wetter. So the heavy stuff is going to be the powdery snow, which is good. Low water content. It's easier to get rid of. It'll melt faster, and it won't be so icy. So that's the good thing about this particular system. Now, in this model, we don't have the snowfall outputs. Don't work on this, but we can look at the GFS as well. So here's the GFS, 18Z GFS. I mean, similar thing, you have that agreement there. And we'll go to the total snowfall. This is what the GFS has. All right, so similar to the kind of map we're going to look at. So let's go to dew points and wind flow, and we'll go to the HRRR. This is my model of choice generally, just to show you what's happening with the air mass. So you see the north wind coming in, bring in that Arctic air there from the north and northeast. The dew points will drop quite low, like to around perhaps single digits of 0. We have north winds. They become east tomorrow, but that east, even southeast, but the air is so cold that there won't be any issues with mixing in our area. For Jersey, that southeast wind brings in warmer air, and that's why they're going to have more in the way of rain. Jersey Shore especially. This won't be a big storm for them at all. It won't be really a huge storm at all for them. And then the storm passes to the south, and the winds go back to the east and on Saturday. But the really cold Arctic air is up here now. So anyway, that's what the air masses look like. Temperatures. Here are your temperatures. So they drop below freezing, and then by morning we're in the upper teens to around 20, and tomorrow we're staying pretty much in the upper 20s to around 30, below freezing, staying below freezing when the snow comes down. It's probably going to drop the temperatures back down, so we may hit 30, but then when the snow gets heavier Friday night, it might actually drop the temperatures down to the mid-20s for a little bit. And then as we get into Saturday, notice the temperatures get closer to freezing Saturday morning, which is when we have the lighter, but it'll be lighter wet snow. And then Saturday is still going to be pretty cold. We're going to probably stay below freezing as well. So let's go look at the radar simulation here on this. So you see the snow is going to start probably around 5 o'clock or so. It'll start fairly light, but then as we get toward 7 o'clock, it's going to get heavy fast. And there's going to be a real thump of snow around 7, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. There's going to be a real good thump of snow, and then it kind of gets lighter. So it's a thump, but it's quick. But still, you're going to have 1 to 2 inch an hour rates going for 3 hours. It's going to add up, and especially because it's powdery. It's going to add up more. But for Jersey, the Jersey Shore, if you're south of the Raritan, Ocean County is not going to see that much snow at all. Like I said, just a 1 to 2, 3 inch, maybe very slushy type of accumulation. But for us, it's going to be a bit different story. And further north in Jersey, if you're in central Jersey, you're still going to be getting a lot of snow. The city, all those other areas. As we get into Saturday, you'll notice it slowly tapers off. and that we have that high pressure now trying to build in back from the north again and try to dry things out. So let's go and look at a couple of other things here before we go to the actual. I don't think this does this doesn't do FGen. Let's go to the snowfall map. This is what the HRRR has. So again, it's having that, I say low end 4 inches, high end 8 inches. I don't think we'll go above 8 inches. But you can see Long Island, pretty much that whole area, Long Island, New York City, southwestern Connecticut, the Hudson Valley, getting in on that heavier snow. And in the mountains, there, you're going to see close to a foot over there. But notice how it cuts off very quickly as you go south. So as you go south of the Raritan, you're barely getting anything. Toms River will only get probably 1 or 2 inches of snow, and that's it for them. So this is not a storm for them. This is a storm for our area. It's interesting. This pattern is just very interesting. I've watched a lot of storms. It's very interesting to see a pattern like this on a snowfall map. But that's because of the atmospheric river in California that added moisture to the storm. Normally, this wouldn't be a big deal. We'd have a light snowfall. But because of the energy from California, this is a stronger, wetter system. And that's where we're seeing the heavier snowfalls that we're seeing. So let's go over to the NAM next. We should have the 0Z NAM in as well. So here is the NAM. I'll go with that one now. So here's the NAM. So you can see that snow starts, again, early evening. Start light, and then this is the NAM. And look at what the NAM does. This is really interesting. So the NAM has a lot of sleet over Jersey. It has very heavy thump of snow right around 9 o'clock. Real heavy thump of snow. And then as it gets lighter, as you get toward later, and then as you get into Saturday, it tapers off. But that's a real heavy thump of snow. You're going to see 1 to 2 inch hour rates, and although it's not going to last that long, it's going to add up. Let's go to the FGen, because this is kind of interesting here to look at as well. So you can see some really good FGen right there. This is the 850. I should probably go to the 700. This is the 700 as well. You can see it right there over us. So that is what's going to help really provide the lift for this heavy snow that we're going to see. So let's go ahead and look at the total snowfall on this. So snowfall, this is the NAM. All right. So the NAM has the heavier spot actually over central Suffolk, and a little more over the east end. And I think it's going to be a little further. I think the NAM's just a little too far north and east with it. But I think, again, you're going to have one spot on Long Island that's going to get 8 inches. Most of us, I think, will see more like 5 or 6 inches from this. And you can see much less over Jersey. Now, if we look at the total liquid equivalent, which is also another thing I wanted to look at here, it is putting down about a half an inch of liquid equivalent. But again, you got to add that fluff factor in because we're going to have higher ratios with this because of the colder air. So around a half an inch of liquid equivalent. I'm just going to go to the HRRR and see what that has as well for liquid equivalent. So here's the HRRR, and yeah, the HRRR gives us even more liquid equivalent, possibly up to an inch liquid equivalent. So that is why the HRRR is, I think, trending a little bit heavier. I'm not sure if we're going to see an inch liquid equivalent. I think it'll be more like between a half an inch and 3/4 of an inch liquid equivalent from this event. So let's go and look at another model here. Let's go to the HDRPS, which probably don't have the 0Z run in, but we can look at the 18Z run. So here's the 18Z run. And you can see, look at that thump, man. It's a real thump. This was the definition of a thump of snow. A thump is a heavy period of heavy snow, and this is going to be heavy snow right around Friday night. It is going to come down. Look at that. It's going to be some pretty heavy snow. And that's going to add up, and then it gets lighter after that. But during that thump is when you're going to add up a lot of snow very quickly. Like I said, in that thump, you're going to probably get most of your snow fall right there in that thump. And it's going to add up quick. And then it's only lighter, you'll notice, lighter, maybe mixed precipitation, and then we slowly dry out on Saturday. All right. So let's go and look at the total. I think this does the total snowfall accumulation on this too as well. So let's go ahead and look at that Thump. And there you go. There has been. Most of us are going to see around that 5-inch mark, I think, 5-inch mark. But I go 4 to 8 just to be safe because it could be heavier amounts. A winter storm warning is necessary just for the fact that there's going to be heavy snow. So it's going to come down fast. And I agree with the Weather Service in having the winter storm warning because, again, these numbers will be over 6 inches for sure. But look at, again, that sharp cutoff, really. I mean, you're barely going to get anything South Jersey. I mean, nothing, basically. So this is an event mainly for Long Island, the Hudson Valley, so you can see the track that this thing puts down here. All right. Let's go to the RGEM model. We have enough of these 0Z RGEM in. So RGEM also showing a similar snowfall amount here. All right. So 8 inches. There's going to be spots where we're going to get up to 8 inches, but I think most people are going to see like 5 to 6 inches, personally. That's my own opinion. But again, in the mountains, that's where you're going to have higher amounts. And some of the hills in the North Shore. But again, you notice that sharp cutoff again off to the southwest. Real interesting as well. Looking at the sky so we can just visualize this storm here. Let's go ahead and do that. So tomorrow, we might see some sun in the morning, but high clouds quickly increase. The clouds thicken, and obviously we're going to have clouds with the snow coming down. And then Saturday, I think the clouds are just going to linger. I was hoping eventually we'd see some sunshine later Saturday, but the NAM certainly isn't. The RGEM isn't showing. Let's see if the NAM is any more optimistic on this. Possibly seeing some sun, perhaps. NAM is a little more optimistic. It clears the clouds out by 1 o'clock. So we'll have to see what happens on Saturday with that. It's possible we'll see some improvement on Saturday, and we can enjoy some of the snowy scenes that are left behind with some sunshine. But I'm not sure if we're going to actually get that or not. That's the NAM. Let's go and look at some of the models. Let's go to windy.com next. And we'll look at what the European has for this as well. Now, wind will not be an issue with this storm. We're not going to have a ton of wind with this. The winds are actually going to, it'll be a breeze, but it's not going to really be a wind-driven type of snow. So, it's not going to look like a blizzard or anything like that. It's just going to be a heavy thump of snow, basically. And then you can see that we're not really going to have any issues with wind all weekend here, all right? But let's go ahead and look at what this has for the snowfall. This is the European output here that we're going to look at here. So let's go ahead and go to the European outlook for snowfall, new snow. So here we go. So here's what the European has. European's actually on the low end of things. It only has 4 inches and 3 inches. I think it's going to be a little more than that. I think this is underdone. Again, that thump, you cannot underestimate that thump that's going to hit us. So I think it'll be a little more than that. So that's my own opinion of it. I think this is a little low. All right, and the fact that you're going to have higher snow ratios. So inch and hour rates, but it might be more like 1.5 to 2 inch hour rates. So if you have a couple hours of that, it's going to add up quick. And again, this is Friday night, so if you're out Friday night, just be careful. It's going to be cool to see, though. I'm going to try to get some video of it for you because it's going to be pretty cool to see. No, I don't think there'll be any thunder, snow, or anything like that, but it will be interesting for sure. So once the storm is done, we'll hopefully get some of these clouds to get out of here. This is the European. See, it's trying to bring in some sunshine for Saturday, so I'm hoping maybe we can see some clearing, and it'll still remain fairly cold, the temperatures. And then for Sunday, you can see the temperature stay below freezing. Sunday, we're still staying cold. A little bit warmer, but we're still staying cold. Clouds, showing some clouds again. So Sunday probably have increasing high clouds, probably with that next system coming. But I think we'll talk more about that tomorrow night because I'll have another weather video. I really wanted to cover the weekend now, so let's just cover Sunday and go back to tidbits here. I'll just cover Sunday. And then we got to also look at my snowfall map for you. So just go to tidbits or just go to the RGEM and the sky. Obviously, I don't think the skies go out far enough to Sunday here on this particular model. All right, so you can see it starts off clear, but there'll probably be increasing clouds coming in later. We'll go to the 18Z run coming in. But Sunday should be fairly dry, but it'll still be chilly. We still have the cold air in place. Go to the European here. You see the winds go a little more. They're north to start, and then they go a little more west and southwest and that's going to start bringing in the warmer air. And again, we'll talk about Monday's weather on Sunday night. But this is what it's looking like right now. Well, let's go to the snow map, I guess. And again, Sunday will still be cool. It was still going to be below freezing most of the weekend, so it's going to be pretty cold. And Saturday night's still going to be pretty chilly as well. And if we do have if we do clear out Saturday night, and we have light winds, there could be radiational cooling, especially with a fresh snowpack. So I'll have to see what happens with that. There could be potential for teens and maybe single digits in the Pine Barrens. So it's going to be a cold night. But anyway, let's go to the map now. Here it is. So here's my map. And you'll see I have 4 to 8 inches over most of Long Island. I think the east end gets a little less, but I think it's 4 to 8 inches. And most of us are going to see around that 5 to 6 inch amount, but some areas could see higher amounts, the 8 inches. I have a large spread because we might see as low as 4 on the low end, like the European, but I'm leaning more toward 5 or 6 inches for most of us. And then obviously upstate in the mountains could get 8 to 12 up there. And then 3 to 6 inches for the Twin Forks, I think. And again, I think it's going to be more like 3 to 4 inches for them. And as well as central Jersey, like Edison, 3 to 6 inches. I think maybe more toward the 3-inch amount. And then Tom's River, I think you're only going to see an inch. Ocean County, the Jersey, I think you only see an inch or less, barely anything. You're probably not even probably not even going to have the plows out. But for most of us, north of the Raritan, Long Island, most of us will need the plows, obviously, for this particular snow, and hopefully they'll have the plows and the salters and all that, because it's going to come down fast and hard with this thump. It's going to be impressive for sure. So it will be an interesting night for sure. We'll get some more snowfall and make things feel a little more festive once again while it lasts, because if we get back to windy.com and we look at the windy.com, and there's actually a snow depth thing we can look at here. We go to snow depth here, all right? So you notice you have the snow depth, but look what happens by Monday. Most of it's gone already. So most of it's going to be gone after that. LLJ is going to be washed away. So you can enjoy it for a couple of days, those of you who like the snow. But anyway, it would be a powdery snow, so I'm happy about that. I don't like the wet stuff. So most of it's going to be a nice powder, which is much better for everything. The power lines, the trees, it's much better, and it's pretty. So anyway, thanks for watching. Good night. And just be careful out there tomorrow night, but enjoy it too, because I think it's going to be beautiful. Have a good night.